Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan, and it is Block Wednesday for Sweet Dreams. So what would our dream be? Let them eat cake. Cake, cake, cake. This is what we've been eating because, you know, you have to live the word. You have to live the word. Cake. So here is the block. Ta-da! And in the Moonstone. So it is a wonderful block because squares, squares, squares. For those of you who love to cut squares and sew squares, this is your day. So I've also done it in the scraps. So here are the scrap version, and that was a lot of fun. In the I'll explain, you know, how I sort of looked at that and thought about it. Now I do want to tell you one thing about cake. As a kid, I didn't like cake because that middle part where the two layers went together, that cake got mushy. The icing was, you know, they held them layers together. It was like, oh. So I was like a cupcake girl as a kid. And also, the goodie bag had gone out to Allison. I always email the person who's getting it from the giveaway, and I, you know, put their name on the place where you entered because that's the most obvious place for you to look for who got it. And she has answered, and so that is mailed off to her, and her favorite dessert is cake. There's what she said. Let's take a look at the fabric. Here are the block sets up on the design wall. So I'm looking at it from the back side of the table so I can kind of see the colors and see what I want to do and where I want to go. And that's really helpful. So for those of you who don't have a design wall, you really should try to find a way to make one and put it up there. Okay, we have a block to pick colors for. First we'll do the Moonstone, which I'm just really excited about this. So I'm going to use this background fabric. So this is my background fabric. You know, here's the big chunk of it, but I'm using up the smaller piece. That's going to be the light, wherever the light is. And then I'm going to use this charcoal with the little sprigs on it for the big squares. And then the lighter checkerboard will be the pink, and the darker checkerboard will be the gray. So that's what this block will look like. Now, that's an easy one, and it's a fun block. But let's take a look at the scraps and what I'm going to do there. These are the scraps that I'm trying to use up first. This whole grouping that I pulled from the crumb blocks. So those are crumb blocks I made in 2021, and I've just been cutting them up to do those 5 blocks that you saw on the wall. Now, I really like this citrus. It got used in the last block, and so I'm going to use it again. And I pulled out the black dot that I've used already, and then I pulled out this sort of watermelon pink, I think that's or grapefruit, pink grapefruit. There you go, just like that. And these will be the base, and then I will do the large squares with the crumb blocks. Definitely this is going to be one of them, but there isn't really any more of that color so much in the rest of this. So let me just show you how I'm going to think about it. So it's a 3.5 inch square, so I definitely want as much of that citrus as possible, so I will cut it with that as the feature. And then the block will look like this. And I'll have these that I can actually just sew back together if I want. Well, I'm going to sew them together to make more crumbs to use up. So I just keep sewing all these parts together. So I need 4 of these. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh. Okay, so if I wanted to sew some of these together, or if I wanted to just cut, like looking at these, I have a lot of light here, but there is some peachy colors, peachy tones. This one I'm not going to use for this block because that's got that teal, black, and red. Here is a peach tone, so I can grab that out for one of the blocks. So that's what I would do, would be to come and go, okay, I need 3.5, just make it a little bit oversized so I can trim it down. Come up and get this unit out of here. And this will give me 2 of my 3.5 inch squares. And then I will just cut 2 more. So I've got 2 that have some peach in them. Maybe I might go ahead and get the horse one out of here. That would be good. And then I'll do one more. So I want to be sure I have enough So gonna have some seam allowance. Very good. And the horse block. The horse block. He is so cute. All right, so I have 3 of the 4, just 1 more, and then I can make up the 2 blocks. When reading the patterns, I want to give you a little tip. Remember to really look at the sizes, because I think often we go into default. If we see 2, we cut 2.5, because that's a default for a lot of blocks. But these are cut 2 inch. So I don't want you to have your block too big or not fitting together. So there's your tip. Now be sure you stay to the end, because I want to show you what I did with the Woodsy quilt and how I did the backing for that. So I've got a mail call, such a good mail call. Oh you guys, oh you guys. So Carol Dean, the author, remember I showed you her books? She is in West Virginia, and she wrote to me and said that she loved that I had shared about her books here on my video, and she sent me a bunch more. This was the one that I already had that I haven't read yet, and then she sent me this grouping. And she did recommend that, you know, even though you can read a book just by itself, they really do read best in sequence, so you get to understand the characters, and she brings new people in, and that is so delightful. So I'm getting ready to start this 3rd one. So if you have not read her books, she is a quilter, and in here the quilting is very interwoven in everything. So thank you, Carol. Mwah. Now I also had 2 other wonderful packages. This one came from Canada. So from where in Canada? In Winnipeg, Canada. And this is from Susan. She sent this card. So pretty. So many of you are card makers. It is so lovely. And then some great lotion to try. I haven't tried this one, so thank you so much, Susan. Some edges. Some salvages from the edge of your fabric. And a lot of people keep asking me, what am I going to make? I'm going to make a quilt, but I have to get the pattern and do 1 block before I show you, because that would just be more fun, wouldn't it? And then this surprise little box, and it's got Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland, and inside is Alice in Wonderland. Well, not Alice herself, but look at this. How cute is this with a Cheshire cat? Yes, and look at all the detail on the rim. This is so, so sweet. Mwah! Thank you so much. I love it. Love it. And then 1 more on the mail call today. And this is from Sharon. And oh, I know where Sharon is from. Hold on. Sharon wrote it down for me. Sharon is from Connecticut, and Sharon is out in our community, very active. First, I have to show you that, you know, she didn't just send a note. She sent me a painting with the note on the back. Look at this. How amazing. Doesn't this look like a bunch of quilters going shopping? And then see, we got to stop for a coffee. Yes. Oh my goodness. So she also sent me some super cute salvages. Just darling. I love this one, the cowboy boots. Look at the cowboy boots. So cool. And then some goodies. Yummy, yummy goodies. Love them, love them, love them. Okay, one other thing I want to show you before the Woodsy. What was that thing I was going to show you? Yeah, I got the Sew Sampler box, and I want to show you what's inside. These are a subscription box from the Fat Quarter Shop, and a lot of times the items, a majority of them are on their website. So I love showing what's in here. Okay, there's always a coupon too. So there's a theme. So the theme is Shine Bright. And there's a great coupon in there for several different kinds, for all the Gypsy Quilter products. And this time you also got needles and pins, which we always need. They give you a little, you know, tells you what everything is so that you know what's going on. The seam ripper, since Riley Blake's owner Cindy developed this seam ripper that is, you know, Jack, our friend Jack, but it sits on your finger. It is so cool. It is such a unique design. Very, very cool. Then this is really interesting. So there's some thimbles by the Gypsy Quilter. Look at the package. You can try it on. And so I have not worked with their thimbles, and of course I always have nails, so that's really good. Then they sent the fabric, which is by my friend April, and it's called Love Lily. And so we got a jelly roll of that. It looks like a mini jelly roll. They do half jelly rolls. And you always get a pattern for how to use it, and that's really cool. So the pattern is exclusive to the box. Sometimes they republish them later down the road. And then also, what did we get? A pin wand. Look, look. A magic wand. If any of you were with me 1,000 years ago, I used to have a magic wand that was sent to me by a guild in Florida. It was pink, and I had to press the button, and it played music. And when I taught classes, I would take it sometimes and wave it when people were struggling. It was like, okay, we need the quilting magic wand. So this is super cool, super cool. Here's the top with all 4 borders, and I put the newsprint on the cream as the cornerstones. There we go. Now I want to show you the back, because I decided that yes, I did want to put that crumb block in the back, and I have a few little videos here of how I was working on that. Okay, I am ready to put the border on the Woodsy, which is using the outdoorsy fabric. I know, I have to make it weird, don't I? Here's the edge. Look at that, so cute. This is going to be the inner border. So I think I will do it as just a 1-inch finished, or maybe 3/4 inch. So that means I will cut the strips 1 1/4 so that they will finish at 3/4. And then, so that's the red. And then I don't know if I got enough. I think I have some still, but I want to do the binding on with that. So we'll see. We'll see if I didn't mess up and not get enough. If so, then I might have to do binding in something else. I might do binding just in this, because there will definitely be enough of this. So I'm going to do the borders, cutting length of fabric like this, and I am going to do it 1 layer so that I can cut the plaid straight. Yes, I am going to cut it straight. I don't often worry about that, but when it comes to borders, I really am happier when I do it that way. So I am going to go lay this on the back side here, and let me just show you. The length is really just a little bit longer than what this is. So I am going to do all 4 of them on the length. So the top and the bottom are shorter. And then when I do the first 2, then I'll measure what the top is, and I may just go ahead and you know, do something close, and so I don't waste that extra fabric. Because if I just cut all 4 strips, I'm probably going to have chunks about like this extra for the top and the bottom ones. So laying it out means that I will just be doing the 1 layer so that I can see everything. And this is a printed, it's not a woven plaid. I love that it looks flannelly, that the texture of the plaid in the print, it does kind of look like it should feel like flannel, but it's not. It is not. All right, so I'm going to use the edge, the salvage edge that does not have the writing. I will cut from that side, and then I will just use my long ruler, and I think I'm going to do like a 3.5 inch. I think that's a nice size. It's not too big. It's not too this is just a, you know, a lap quilt, but it's a good size lap quilt. So doing this down here, I will be working off of the 3.5, and I will find something. I usually want to go a little bit further away, so I'm going to trim one side and I'll be running it even, but just in case it gets a little weird, which I'm looking at the printed edge. Like here, when you look at this printed edge, just going to keep pulling it down here, pulling it down, and you can see that it's actually pretty even. I mean, this plaid along the salvage is pretty even. You know, I'm not seeing where it's, you know, skewing or anything like that. So I should be really good to, you know, take this and just pick a spot. So for me, to make it easier, I would overcut and then come back. So this particular chunk here, you know, like this, is an easy place of either cutting on one side of it or cutting on the other side of it. Visually, that's for me really easy to see. If I cut on this side of it, it's too short because my 3.5 is into the holes for the selvage. So I will cut on the far side of that big chunk. And then what I'll do is just take the rotary cutter and the ruler. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but it can go, you know, on that line. So I'm pretty much going to just scoot it along and cut on that line for the plaid. And that will make me happy. And then I will go, after this one is done, then I will come and do, and I'll trim the other side, trim the other side of it, so it's 3.5. Then I will come back to this side and cut on the plaid. And will 3.5 be the same? Yeah, so I can do the same because it's a little oversized, so I'll have a little bit of waste, but I'm okay with that. I think when you're fussing cutting, you always have to expect some waste. I'll have a little bit of strip left over here. Okay, so I'll cut down that side. Now, if you were super frugal and didn't want to do that, you could pick like some line in between. You didn't want to be cutting away as much. You could come into like a second line. My thought is I just don't want to get visually out of whack and all of a sudden start cutting in a different place. This bigger outer edge, you know, going into the light blue area gives me a good visual that I'm looking at. I have the inner border on and 2 of the outer borders. Okay, this is where I need to decide on the cornerstones because I'm going to do cornerstones so that I don't have, I'm not going to miter, and I didn't want to just stretch this across, which I could have done, but I thought, no, I'm going to do a cornerstone. Then I went looking at what I have because there's all these fun prints, you know, that have, you know, all kinds of things on them. And then there's also the navy, which is the, you know, the splatterware I think is kind of neat because it's very, I'll put it down here so you can see it. It's kind of very blendy into that, so I'm not sure. So here's like this one. So if I did that in the corner, yeah, maybe that. I like that. I think that's it gives it a little bit more life in the corner than the splatterware, which is cool. But I'm thinking this is probably either going to go in stash or it's going to go in the backing. So, or it could be the bag. Because remember, I'm going to make a drawstring bag to put this in. I've got threads everywhere. I think there were threads on my glasses. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is working. This is looking really good. So now I have to cut these. I'm going to go with these, and I have the borders. I just need to trim them to size and then decide what I'm going to do on the backing. Because remember, I have this great big scrappy block, and I thought about maybe putting that in the middle for the back. Oh, I think it would go like this for the middle, and then I would build out on either side and then across the top and the bottom. And that still might be kind of fun. I forgot to say, I ended up with the turquoise, the teal plaid as a 4.5-inch border. That just looked, it needed to be a little bit chunkier than 3.5, so it's 4.5. I had some bigger chunks of fabric, and that really helped make this go a lot quicker. So this was just, you know, the pieces, the teal left over from doing the borders. And I didn't save any of it for binding. There's just a little bit left, and binding will be in red. And then here is the crumb block, so you can see that. And I just added the red plaid on either side, and that was what I had left. That wasn't from the new red plaid that I got. Then at the bottom, I took a bunch of the fat quarters and things that were left. Like this was one full fat quarter, this was almost full, and then, you know, obviously not quite as full. Did that, and then the navy splatter. Again, I had enough of this that I could just do one long sheet. So that's a really fast way to do these backs without, you know, it's still pieced, but it's not putting a ton of effort in like I did for the old school block of the month. So now this can get packaged up and it can go to the spa with the other one. So I pretty much have everything I think that's ready to go to the spa. I will still make a bag for this one, and I'll talk about that in a little bit down another video another day, and it will be the red plaid with something on the top as an accent, and I'll show you all that then. One other thing before I wrap up, Babylock has put out a really neat timeline of the history of the company. Here's sort of like a little picture of it. So the link is at my website today and in the description box. It's kind of fun to go over there if you've ever had a Babylock, whether it's a serger, a long arm, or regular machines like I have down here. You will enjoy it. You'll enjoy seeing the history. All right, it's time to eat cake. And I'd love to know what your favorite cake is. So tell me in the comments below. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.